Sweet it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Garage, the Court of Public Opinion. Gary and the great Mandini.
Thank you.
Each with a glass of wine. I'll catch up with you or to you.
Indeed.
I will. Here's a wild thought. Can we get rid of daylight saving, please? I think that's the idiotic thing. Changing all the clocks and things that... I don't know. It annoys me. It really does. Now, Julian Gillespie, you might not know the name, he's a Western Australian lawyer, and he is stirring things up with his suggestion that we dissolve the Australian Federation of States. The federal government, basically. Now, he makes some very good points. But unfortunately, we have a situation where turkeys do not vote for Christmas. The states or colonies were all doing very well, very nicely as individual independent entities. Now, of course, he's speaking from Western Australia's point of view, which is an incredibly wealthy state. They have, for a long time, represented the prosperity of the country. And they probably resent the fact that, as a former Prime Minister memorably said, they are not getting a fair shake of the sauce bottle, not getting a big enough slice of the pie, which they feel they produce much of. They produce so much of the commonwealth of Australia without getting the appropriate rewards. To which I would say, to whom much is given, much is asked, but in the case of government, much is taken. Now, this sort of talk, secession, this sort of talk, has been around for a long time in Western Australia. Now, people, I imagine, talk about it in the parlours of Perth and the gentlemen's clubs and things. There's no doubt that the cost of running Canberra is totally outrageous. So much duplication goes on between the states and the Commonwealth. You know, there's a Department of Education in Canberra with thousands of bureaucrats. No schools, no teachers. There's a Department of Health with thousands and thousands of bureaucrats. No doctors, no hospitals. Why do we need such duplication? Between the states and Canberra, the savings could be, no, I won't say could, would be enormous. I don't know, it's something that we can probably talk about tomorrow. 0491 65 68 60. It certainly should be up for debate. It worked for the Hutt River province. You remember Prince Leonard. Would they ever let that happen again? Probably not. Probably not. I don't know, for some reason the idea appeals to me. I mean, South Australia, we have to shovel off all this money to Canberra. I don't know. Then they split it all up. Wouldn't it be more direct just to everyone to thrive, survive, have a go, competitively? We'll talk about it. Ban gambling advertising. Why do we have the promotion of gambling? I don't get it. We all know it's bad. Even people who do it know it's bad. Now, I don't care, and this is the argument that the media put up. The media say we're going through tough times. You know, we need this gambling revenue, gambling advertising revenue. Well, maybe so. But, you know, they've made their own fair share of mistakes. Or as our Prime Minister says, you made your bed, lie in it. Which I agree with. But what about this one? The idea that a radio network would, I'm assuming stone cold sober, pay $200 million for Kyle and Jackie O. Beyond belief. Even after the executives responsible for hiring them have gone, all gone, the shareholders are left with the mess and, of course, the responsibility. Why? How do executives get to be that stupid? Commit your company to paying a couple of presenters $200 million over 10 years? Why? Even if you could network the program around Australia, which was never going to happen successfully, anyone in radio knows that what works in Sydney does not work in Melbourne and will never work in Adelaide. Well, I am an exception to that.
Of course.
Of course. But mostly the cities are intrinsically different. You could do it, but you've got to do it with boundaries and sensible KPIs, you know, key performance indicators. Pay them well. And when they exceed their KPIs, you pay them more. But you don't just reward people for coming over and signing a contract. You've got to make people earn their money and always have an out. Now, the lawyers will have a picnic. Lawyers always have a picnic. If I owned a radio station today, I mean, not the one around the dining room table, you understand, but a radio station, AM or FM, I'd never hire Carl Sandilands. I think he's vulgar. He's not a good radio talent. I can't imagine anyone thinking that he is. Don't know how he got to the point where he could command hundreds of millions of dollars. But now he's going to sue, and I can't imagine anyone in the business being terribly enthusiastic to hire him again. People work on numbers, return on investment, audience results, figures. With his brand of celebrity, I don't get it. A lot of cost and not much gain. What do you think of these charities who advertise heavily on television? There's a lot of it on daytime and particularly weekend television. Are you moved to donate? It worries me that a particular commercial, well, to me it stood out. It worries me that a charity which supports sick children is running an ad featuring little kids who are supposedly in critical condition, being supported by this charity. God bless you. I have no doubt a worthy cause, this charity. But the very next ad in the break featured the same child in the commercial for fast food. Now, I know the chances of that happening would be remote. Now, I don't want to be cynical. I'm a very practical person. I find it hard to understand that you don't have some genuinely critically ill children who could be featured honestly in your ad. You go to an advertising agency and they go to a talent agency and then they look at their books and they find some really attractive kids who are dressed up to look ill. And you do the ad. Is that honest? You see, I think you'd raise a lot more money by simply saying something like, we are a unique charity in that we give everything we collect to the cause for which we collect it. All our staff are volunteers, no $300,000 a year, chief executives, just honest fundraising for a cause that is truly worthwhile. Now, such an ad, I think, apart from being cheaper, would be a lot more effective. Anyway, you might like to talk to me tomorrow about that as well. Ed Husic, the deposed Labor Minister for Technology, has spoken out about the controls that are placed on Labor members of Parliament. You see, this is difficult because one of Labor's great strengths is discipline. Discipline. Nobody steps out of line, speaks out of turn, which is not democratic, really, but it certainly leads to electoral success. I appreciate where Husik's coming from. It's very interesting to see a minister, a former minister, stepping out of line and saying, you have got to take the muzzle off members of parliament. I would agree. We send our members of parliament there to be free-thinking, free-speaking people. People should be free-thinking and free of party restrictions, which of course within Labor would be very difficult. Ed, I think you're in the wrong party. I do. Now, tomorrow, around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com, remember, it's not moan in or groan in or drone in, it's phone in, 0491 65 68 60 if you'd like to give us a ring. We only have one line, which means that you might have to wait a little bit. And you'll hear an engage signal if we're already on the phone with somebody else. But we'll get to you if we can. 3 hours. Gary will be there. John Overton will be there. Tony Denton will be there. Dr. John Bruni. Professor Plimer. Sandy McMenamin. You know the lady who had Adelaide, You're a Lady?
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yep.
She'd be good at the Princeton Club.
She'd be fabulous. She probably was there.
She probably was there. And Senator Bob Day with a bit of luck as well. Some thought starters for you. If you need some thought starters to urge you to ring us, 0491 65 68 60. No immigration without assimilation. And on that subject, Pauline Hanson points out the immigration goal set many years ago for the year 2050 was 26 million people. We are already 28 million people. Stop migration, at least for a while. The very thing that attracts migrants is at risk of being destroyed, which I like to think is our Australian way of life. We should have 3 months' fuel in storage. We don't. We're totally vulnerable. We only have 20 days, 23 days, I think, for diesel. And nothing moves in this country. No food in the supermarkets, nothing. No farm activity, nothing if you don't have diesel. And we have 2 refineries in this entire country to look after 28 million people. Rod Sims, you know, he used to be head of Consumer Affairs. He says there's no excuse for the jump in fuel prices. What's your experience around the petrol bowsers? He says what's in the petrol pumps now was bought weeks ago. And any other topic you want to bring up, we're up for it. And we always will be. Some birthdays. Happy birthday, happy wedding anniversary. Yeah, it's the 12th. March 12, Coca-Cola is sold in bottles for the first time in a candy store in Vicksburg, Mississippi. That was 1894. So I guess they had it in those soda fountain.
Or maybe the snake oil salesman, you know, when you're going around in wagons or something. They just...
Yes. Well, it was a
it was a snake oil.
a patent medicine, or whatever they used to call it. Yeah. 1894. You'd be buying shares in that. Don't know that you'd be buying shares at the moment. Yeah. Oh, well, no, hang on, you might be, because if don't take advice from me, for God's sake. It's better to buy the shares when they're low and then keep your fingers crossed that Trump won't do anything. He'll just go for a holiday or something. The foundation stone of the Australian capital, Canberra, is laid.
Great choice there.
Oh, it's not only a great choice. I just dispute the fact that we just allowed this monolith, this crazy bureaucracy to grow and grow and grow and grow. We'll have something to say more about that next week. That was 1913, shortly after Federation. Well, not after Federation, that was 1901, wasn't it? Random House publishes The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. Great. James Taylor, American singer, songwriter and guitarist, Fire and Rain, you've got a friend. Born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1948. Clement Studebaker. You ever had a Studebaker?
No, never had a Studebaker.
They brought out some nice ones in the 60s. I rather liked them.
Hawk.
Yeah, it was the Hawk, yeah. 1831. Clement Studebaker, American manufacturer of horse-drawn vehicles and later made early automobiles, was born in East Berlin, Pennsylvania. I didn't even know there was an East Berlin, Pennsylvania. He died in 1901, but born this day, 1831. 1942, Robert Bosch, German designer, engineer, inventor, automotive ignition device. He invented it. Industrialist, dies at 80 on this day in 1942. John Bull, English composer, musician, organ builder, credited with composing Britain's national anthem, God Save the King, or God Save the Queen. Dies at about 68. John Bull, 1563. 1653. Beatle Paul McCartney, 26, marries American photographer Linda Eastman, 27, registry office in London, this day in 1969. First record of Johannes Gutenberg's Bible, a letter dated this day in 1455 by Enea Silvio, refers to the Bible printed a year earlier. Golly, don't throw anything away. That dusty old envelope, keep it. Keep it, keep it, keep it. You don't know what's in it. Britain establishes 30 miles per hour speed limit for towns and villages in 1935. Robert Ludlum, American spy novelist. We spoke to him many times. He was a great interview. The Bourne Identity and many others. Dies at 73. 2001 was the year. Fearing foreign invasion. Vladimir Lenin shifts revolutionary Russian capital from Petrograd, which is now St. Petersburg, to Moscow on this day in 1918. Are we running out of battery, Pete? Yes, we are. Okay. And I'll leave it there, I think. Thank you very much for being with us. Look forward to your company in the morning. Thank you very much for joining us in the garage, and I hope you'll be here next Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and next Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, and tomorrow morning around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com, live for 3 hours. Believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.